What's up, motherfuckers? In the today video of Opening Tricks, I'm going to show us a game of Esipenko who played b3 against the Philidor in the fifth move, a move that I never saw. There are only 10 games, no, sorry, 15 games with this move, so that's very interesting for employing one game. And this idea helped him to advance to the semi-final of the World Cup. So he had a good result with that. Okay, he won the previous game, so he just need a draw. So he opened with e4, e6, d4, and Shankland goes with the Philidor defense, knight f6, knight e3, knight d7, knight f3. Now e5, that's the Philidor. And here white have many moves. The principal was bishop c4. I employed in the past g4. I saw that rook g1 is more or less in fashion nowadays. I'm going to show us that there are, like, for example, the principal move was bishop c4, g4 was that the second, sorry, g4 was the second, e takes e5 was a possibility, bishop e2, rook g1, g3, there are many white moves, so with thousands of games. But here Esipenko employed a move where there are only 15 games in the online database, with b3. The idea of behind this move is just develop the bishop to b2 and later play queen d2 and this plan bishop b2, queen d2 and long castle. That's the plan of white. And later we can play g4 to attack in the king side. Okay, Shankland respond with c6, but I'm going to show us different option of black to play here. For example, d5. This could be a good move. Breaking the center could look strange because we are playing d6 and d5 in just two tempos, but this more or less works thanks to b3 because the move b3 weak is this diagonal and now the bishop can came to b4 to put some troubles to the white king. So here d5 is interesting, but if you don't know the theory with black, it looks like a little bit strange to play d5 here. But this more or less works. For example, if e takes, now here we have e4, knight e5, bishop d6, bishop b5, short castle, takes, and check, and king e2. And okay, white have an extra pawn, but black have some counterplay because the white king is a little bit quick on e2. Okay, knight d5, knight d4. Here we have for bishop d3. For example, bishop d3 could be a possibility. You need to choose some possibilities for white. Now you can choose every possibility, but I'm going to show for white is more or less fine. And the lines are more or less equal with or slightly advantage for white. For example, bishop d3, c6, knight d3, e takes, bishop takes, d takes, bishop takes, bishop b4, and bishop d2. By the way, this looks more or less equal. So queen d3 here was so interesting. a5, we're reaching the sharpest line. a3 now stopping ideas with bishop b4, c6, because that's the black thread, c6, followed by bishop b4. Now we can go back to c3 or to e3, for example. This could be another interesting line. Or knight e3 with a crazy position with knight f2, king f2, e4, queen c3, f4, an incredible line, knight c4, knight f6, bishop f4, bishop e7, queen e5, b6, queen d2, e takes, and we will have this type of lines. But okay, if you play b3, I think that d5 is not the main move that you are going to face. Looks like a little bit strange. I think that the most natural move are or bishop e7 or c6 played by Shankland. If bishop e7, we're going to develop just like Esipenko with bishop b2, short castle, queen d2, rook e8, short castle. Sorry, long castle. That's the white setup. Bishop b2, knight c3, queen d2, and place the long castle. That's the white setup. c6, and now we're going to defend this pawn with bishop d3 because the problem is that black is coming with b5 and b4 and it's going to attack our knight and the a4 pawn is going to be weak. So sorry, I don't know what I did. So we just should defend with bishop d3, the a4 pawn, queen b6, and now finally we're going to attack in the king side with the white idea of the position with g4. Oh, if he take with the knight, we're going to open the g file, so the black, I think that he cannot take. So for example, e takes, like I told him, if knight takes, now we have rook g1. So annoying for black, open the g file. E takes d4, knight d4, queen d4, knight take 4, knight d4, queen e1, sacrificing the two central pawns, bishop g5, and we take the win, but now black is taking back the win, and we can reach this position, who is a little bit more pleasant for white, of course. white looks like it's more active. Black have an extra pawn, but white is so active. So I really like this line for white. And the other main response was e6, just like some Shankland play. But okay, this could touch pawn to some lines. Bishop e7. Here I see that the machines prefer a little bit to develop the queen to e2. So yes, I give us these two options, develop the queen to e2 or to e2. But okay, Esipenko play queen d2, and now I just playing some theoretical lines, but now I'm going to show us the game and the typical plans. This is 7 long castle, this is making the normal development. And Shankland decides to keep the king in the center for the moment and not define his king. Because he knows that he goes short castle so early, white could respond maybe with d4. So for that reason he keep the king in the center, bishop d3, and like I told here, if short castle, just d4, attacking. a5 and knight e2, coming with the knight to the king side to attack. a4, knight g3, d5, knight f5, very good move, knight b6, and now we can take, and great move e6. Open the dark square bishop. F takes knight e7, and now queen g5, and white is putting some pressure. So this is a very interesting line. So, but let's understand that the idea if black goes short castle is just going to be play g4 and later play rook e1 and attacking the king side. So bishop b7, and finally Esipenko still with his plan of g4. Okay, black is not short castle, but doesn't matter because if we manage to play e5 and attack this knight, it looks fine. h6, stopping g5. Here he played rook hg1, who is a fine move. a4 and king b1 are possible too, but I think that rook hg1 is completely fine. a6, the idea of a6 looks like it's prepared c5 one day. a6, sorry, h4, and now white is threatening g5. He should play g6 because if not, for example, if he goes long castle dsd, maybe we can play g5 and later d6, making the black position. So for that reason, he played g6, stopping g6. Now g5 or king b1 could be fine, but he played queen 3, is improving the queen a little bit, long castle. And now that's the strongest move, g5, and followed by king b1. By the way, Esipenko is still playing normal moves, just improving the pieces. I think that you take a look to the white setup. He plays the knights on. Okay, of course he plays the knights on f3 because he's the Philidor, but he plays the bishop on b2, the bishop on d3, the king on e3 looks fine, and now he has done this pawn. So and the king always useful on b1. So king b8, and he finally played g5 and obligate to the black knight to go to the corner, who never want to have a knight in the corner. Knight e2. a4 all the time was recommended by the machine. It's very interesting move, this a4. Knight e2. And now black makes a mistake. He plays e5. When I watching the game, I thought that this was a good move, but the machine proved that it's a bad move. Uh, Here he should play takes and rook e8, which is a normal way to play in the Philidor. I'm more with the king short castle, but it's so typical to take on d4 and later play rook e8 to put pressure into the center. That's the way to play for black. But he plays e5. The problem with e5 is that after d takes e5, d takes, now black is threatening c4, so we are going to play c4. b4, and yeah, this is very good for white because sorry, I don't know what I thought. Oh, fuck them. Okay, this pawn is a little bit weak. I don't know what I'm touching. Okay, this pawn is a little bit weak. We have this open 5 for the rook. For example, the d4 square is weak too, but black have no easy to reach this square. Sorry, this square early. So bishop c2, very good move. The idea is with bishop c2 is open the d file, and now white is going to double rooks into the d file and go with the knight to e3 to put pressure into e5 and into c5. So that's the white plan of the position. For that reason, Shankland takes on e5 with the knight, and now very good move of Esipenko returning to c3 with the knight. He played knight e2 just 2 moves ago in the move 17. Because okay, of course here the d5 square is covered by the c6 pawn. But yes, in 2 moves later, he returned to c3, master move, because now the d5 square is open. So we should look its position, and maybe 2 moves ago, the knight is bad on c3, but now it's better. So they will move knight c3. Okay, here, okay, the machine like really this, and so much this idea of bishop b5, this piece sacrifice, and now knight b5 and bishop takes e5 is unstoppable. So very bishop b5, very interesting sacrifice, but okay, he is still keeping advantage with bishop b2, bishop f8, and now just 3 pieces was enough for white to have a great position, because now all of the white pawns, sorry, all of the black pawns are weak, and the black king is so open. That's the huge problem of black position. So after rook d5, queen f3, attacking all the pawns, and he doesn't take n5. He just white just still activating his pieces, and let's see that black pawns still being weak, and the black king is also weak. And now we are attacking h6, so we doesn't need to take one. Just attack everything, and one day we can. He black of course cannot take everything, cannot defend everything. So I finally take the h5 pawn. c4 bishop takes. Now we take the second pawn. Second now after this, of course, be careful. Doesn't play bishop f6 because bishop takes is a check. So he has played b takes. Now king c3 is coming. So Samuel Shankland resigns. So this is interesting. This b3 against the Philidor for one game and surprise to your opponent. I think that this is a really interesting idea. I recommend us to all of you not only yes, I recommend to all of you not only keep the idea of the video, of course, use the ideas that I show you in this video, but apart analyze by yourself a little bit the position and play some games online, or especially play some games with the machine. Put this position against the machine in the level that you want, and or with a friend, and try to practice and later analyze the game. It's so important, of course, analyze the game, not only play. So I hope that you can use this idea in your own games, and let's see you in the next video. Bye bye, my fuckers.